What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and this is it. This is Fallout, Season 1, Episode 8, the season finale. This is on Amazon. It has audio description done by the Media Access Group. Sadly, there's no narrator that's credited. I wrote about this on my website, and I was like, come on, Media Access Group. You guys, they've done some really exceptional work recently on television shows, especially for Paramount Plus. A lot of the shows I've really loved recently have been Media Access Group narrated shows, and I think Fallout has a pretty solid audio description. A little bit. There was some times in the show where I was let down by the audio description because I felt like, as somebody who played the video game, I kept looking for like Nuka-Cola references. There was one point where they got like a soda, but it wasn't referenced as being Nuka-Cola, and it bothered me. It just was like, grabbed a soda bottle or whatever. It's like, is it Nuka-Cola? Because that's a pretty popular brand of this whole. So I will say in episode 8 that there's a Nuka-Cola reference where they actually say the brand. So it's not like they're afraid of saying the brand, but they do actually use the brand name uh, in the audio description for the finale, which was exciting for me. I felt validated as a fan of having played some Fallout. I've not played every Fallout game. So, but Media Access Group, please get your narrators because you have some of the best writers and narrators working. Some of the best narration that I've heard this year has been stuff that's been done by them. Lawman, the Base Reeves story, was actually the thing that got my vote. We have a thing, Audio Description Project does excellence awards for television and film. My television vote went to Lawman. I thought Lawman had exceptional audio description. I really loved it. I thought all the way through. Tonally, I thought the narrator choice was great, but it's never cited. That person is never credited. Nobody's ever credited. And it was something that I really took into consideration with my voting too, was I don't like voting for something that I don't know who's going to get the credit for it. Is it just going to be Media Access Group? Or are the people who actually wrote this / narrated this going to be the ones who get the credit for actually doing the work? Like, is this going to be a thing where, people do something amazing while working for Google, and then everybody's like, oh my God, Google, you did such an amazing thing. We never know who actually did the thing for Google. It feels like that. So it makes me less excited, and it makes me like Media Access Group less as a company, because I feel like there are other companies that more consistently get their narrators, bare minimum, at least their narrators, but a lot of people that get their writers also in the credits. And I've heard Media Access Group get writers and narrators in the credits, so I don't know why this is different, but I don't know why they can't consistently do it. And there's certain narrators too that when they work for Media Access Group seem to be able to get their names in the credits versus others that don't. So I know this is like a whole long thing, but you signed up for a blind film critic, and welcome. So yes, I would like to see, I'd like to know who actually did this. I'd like to know who actually wrote and narrated and did the audio description for Fallout, because I thought overall they did a really exceptional job. Like I said, just a couple little things along the way that I had questions about based on the fact I played a video game, things I was looking out for. But other than that, like if I hadn't played the video game, I think this is exceptional audio description. It's just because I hadn't been cited before and to play the video game that I was looking for a couple really specific references. So the Fallout finale wraps up all of the plots, but also clearly is like, we're getting a season 2. I mean, this is the most like optimistic season finale I've seen in a while. This is really just like a big tease. It very much ends on a New Vegas lean, where you're definitely going to be getting New Vegas. Kyle MacLachlan's Hank. We learn his backstory, who he is, why he's important. It's interesting because he's been sort of gone the majority of the series, but then you kind of in the final episode, you kind of understand why Kyle MacLachlan was cast in this role to begin with. Because there are a lot of people in this cast that are not names. They're not. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of people in this cast that are floating in and out of these roles that are just character actors. And then you're like, Kyle MacLachlan is in this role. It does kind of feel a little weird. So I would say that it addresses that, and then you understand. And I feel like Hank is definitely going to be a big part of season 2. So it's like they're setting up a character that they knew was going to be around longer than one season, even though Amazon probably only promised them one season. They were like, Kyle, we're putting you in this role because we really need you to be. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But yeah, some really great work done by Lucy Ella Purnell, who I think is going to get an Emmy nomination this year for Best Actress in a Drama. I think she and Walton Goggins both have really good chances. Sadly, I think Maximus he's an unknown, and it's questionable as to whether or not, I don't know where they're going to put him, and I don't know where they're going to put Walton, but I feel like Walton could get either lead or supporting, depending on what they consider him to be. Whether they put him in lead and then they put Maximus in supporting, or vice versa. I feel like he has a strong chance of either place because he's Walton Goggins. I don't feel like the other guy does right off the bat. So I think maybe 2 acting nominations out of this show. Moises Arias does a really nice job and has a pretty solid chunk. I've heard a lot of people talk about how this show feels like it has 3 leads. It really does have 4, because we followed him quite a bit this season on his own journey of discovering about like the mysteries of the vault. And towards the end, he discovers some stuff that's really important to the overall arc of the series, and he's kind of left in a position that's like, well, shit. I have to say that audio description, I giggled a lot. I giggled so many times. And the funny thing is that it's actually credited that way on IMDb, but there is a there is a brain on a Roomba. And that is hilarious in and of itself. I just found the concept to be hilarious. How it's introduced is hilarious. The character of Brain on a Roomba is hilarious. And the fact that on IMDb, that if you go there and you're looking up and you're like, oh, who voiced it? And you're like, Brain on the Roomba. That is actually the name of the character. They didn't make that up for the audio description. It's not like they were trying to just be really descriptive and tell you exactly what it was. No, that's the character name. Brain on a Roomba. So I thought that was really fun and really interesting. So we learned a lot from that angle too. And it brought together all of the themes from the season and answered a lot of questions about the past. And I feel like I know where the show is headed in season 2, and that's a really good thing. This is a really good first season of a show. And I think that it captured the video game while also doing its own thing, which is really good. I think it's not quite to The Last of Us, where it has that emotional depth to it, but I don't think it's trying to be. I don't think it's trying to have that. I think it's trying to have a little bit more of the quirky offbeat comedy that something like Twisted Metal has, where it's like violent and post-apocalyptic and all that kind of stuff. But Twisted Metal obviously apparently had like no budget, because I've heard the visual effects on that are terrible. So this was budgeted better by Amazon, and it pays off. So I'm excited for season 2. I'm glad that Amazon renewed it. I'm glad that Amazon renewed it quickly, because the cast of Mr. and Mrs. Smith is still waiting, I think, to hear. It's weird. It's so weird that cast is still waiting, with all the people that were involved and how long that Amazon was pushing for that show. It's so weird that cast is still waiting to hear that that's a bubble show for Amazon. But anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching and following me on this journey through Fallout. I know I dropped 8 episodes at once, and it took me a while to get here, but I appreciate you. So I'm gonna give Fallout Season 1, Episode 8 an A. I think it finished strong. I do. So anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I will be back with more Fallout when season 2 comes out. In the meantime, I do look forward to recapping a couple shows this summer. Um, I did the last season of House of the Dragon. There's no reason for me to not do that one again. I did the last season of The Boys. There's no reason for me to not do that one again. So at bare minimum, those two shows are coming up. Umbrella Academy comes out in July. So those are 3 shows at which I've already been doing recaps for. So look for those. But until then, I'll see you guys on the other side.